I don't know if you can see, but just through there, you might see some tiny little animals moving. They're not so tiny, but there is a lone deer, a lone Bambi, little baby Bambi, in the river, and it's just made its way back up to its herd. Very satisfying. I haven't recorded from this spot for a little while, so I thought as I was out on my evening walk, I would give you a nice little adjacent view of the river and all these solid stones here. If you've watched this channel for any amount of time, you'll know that I'm a man that likes progress, and I'm a deep thinker. Some may say that I overanalyze, but I just think it's who I am, and I don't like to miss a trick. You know, I don't like to miss a bit of wisdom, a bit of erudition, some useful information that I can use to lead a more happy and joyful and solid life. I like solid things at the moment, and the particular stage that I'm at on my path at the moment is actually starting to come to grips with some big emotions that I've been avoiding for a long time, that I've not wanted to admit actually, and in fact have made many efforts to try and prove to myself and to others on the Twitter sphere that they don't even exist. But they do. They do. And the biggest one that I've been afraid, actually really a bit terrified to admit, is the idea of regret. And not quite as severe, but a close second is failure. You know, and I've been terrified of admitting these things because for some reason I do actually experience a huge amount of guilt, and I think actually probably the reason I'm recording this particular video here, and why it sort of features along the journey at different stages, is I like being by nature, you know, the flowing river that's moving its way prosperously and consistently through the world. It's probably why I record a lot of my videos about feeling guilty and feeling ungrateful, actually, that I'm afraid of missing these things, because I think, oh God, that sounds so spoilt, and because I've experienced a huge onslaught of bullshit from quite a lot of people in my life, and I've taken a lot of it as gospel truths, taking it on as a fact that just because all these people have said these things, that they have any fucking clue what they're talking about. You know, I have a habit of sort of extrapolating out from something that one thing that one person said a gazillion years ago, and thinking, oh, that's my life. That must be the case. And of course it's not. It's ridiculous. But I have assumed a huge amount of responsibility for things that aren't actually anything to do with me, frankly. But there are regrets. I struggle to say it. I really do, because, and I mentioned failure. To me, actually, admitting that I've made mistakes is another word. Mistakes, failure. I must be a terrible person if I'm admitting that I've got regrets. But we're human beings. And somehow I seem to place myself outside, you know, of everything. Gotten into a habit of excluding myself. And one of the things that I actually talked about with my therapist yesterday, that as I was walking to my therapy session, that really struck me, was the idea that I've almost forgotten how forgotten the idea of fun, forgotten how to have fun. You know, just to be peaceful in the process of life. Because I've been for a long time, and I'm thinking I'm 43, almost, I'm 44 in 3 months' time, that I've been carrying at least 20, maybe even 30, maybe 35 years worth of not admitting how I feel, of bottling all of this stuff up, of actually, and I can't remember if I mentioned this on a recent video, maybe here, maybe on Instagram, but it's going to sound a bit odd, okay, but using positivity as another kind of prison. Oh, he thinks Martin's always fine, Martin's always okay, or Martin's always smiling, he's always doing his own thing. And that is true, but I think it's masked a huge amount of denial of things that I've just wanted to say and be honest about, but basically not feeling like that's been possible. Certainly very unsafe thing to think about doing. And it's all coming out now, and it feels massive, and it feels like it's the universe. And I think I've talked, again, often from this spot. I do love this spot, that I need the sort of the flow to remind me that life is still going on. But I have felt a profound sense of confusion in my life, of not knowing where I am, feeling quite disorientated and confused. Not belonging, all these things. And I think it's probably, those are all symptoms of the fact that there's been this massive maelstrom, this huge amount of built up trauma that I'm only starting to really release now. And on the way here, the Instagram video that I do, and you can link through to that in the description of this video. If you're still watching, thank you very much. Do the like and subscribe thing, and leave some of your lovely comments. They're always very heartwarming. I do appreciate them. I know I don't mention it in every video, but I really do appreciate them. Yeah, I feel very connected to you all when I receive those. But kind of lost the thread of what I was speaking about. But all of this stuff has occupied such a huge part of me, the confusion, not belonging and everything. I mean, why the fuck do I feel this way? So, oh right, yeah, it's because I'm starting to actually deal with it, and realizing it's going to be potentially quite a long process to actually do that. And I think the goal for me, because the goalposts are shifting a little bit, that I've talked about not wanting to be bothered by things, but I was talking about my Instagram video, but I was talking about I had a dream last night, and it was about being back in London and racing around. But in my Instagram video, I talked about, who are you racing against? Never going to outrun yourself. You're always going to be inhabiting this body, this mind. You never outrun that. You can try and suppress it and push it all down, but it always comes out in the end. So if you want it, my advice is that when you're, even if there isn't actually anybody to speak to about it, as soon as you as soon as you feel something, if you feel angry or regretful or sorrowful or, you know, any of these things, just openly acknowledge the fact that you're experiencing it, and do your level best to not judge yourself for it. Do it as quickly as you possibly can. Because I tried to, I'm 3.5 months into no alcohol, and I tried to many different ways, desperately trying to cling on to relationships, drinking a vast amount, of being really drunk on a regular basis, and doing myself a huge amount of harm. And I think I'm still actually recovering from that. And denial, it feels like it works in the moment, but it doesn't. Avoidance is only going to make the inevitable fallout of that much worse. So deal with it as it happens. And because you're watching this, do reach out for help, do ask for help, accept it, and feel good about accepting it, because we can all help each other, and I think that's a wonderful thing.